My guy friend thought it was weird that I've gotten my period already, loudly crying I am 16. I don't even remember what I SSID, but I mentioned something apt my period and he acted super surprised, which made me confused. But it turns out he thought that women didn't get their periods until they're 18 LMAO. But yay, I just thought it was funny. Also, I can't RLY blame him TBH, cause I thought guys could manually turn their erections on and off for a very long time, like up until earlier this year, lol. I don't know if they ever took sext. Some girls start them as early as 9-year-old, so woman shrugging, medium skin tone, but at the same time I understand being confused about how bodies work. I would have really freaked him out. I started at 10. Not making fun of anyone in this story, but there is a clear need for comprehensive sex ed. Most women get their period by 13 years old. It's so young, but it can come earlier even. It is not funny. It is very, very sad that he thought that, but considering your last sentence, both of you clearly needed some sex education. What? I was 11. This whole post should hold the reason why sex should be a compulsory class everywhere. Well, they can manually turn their erections off. Ahem. I work in a school and every year there are at least a couple third graders 8-9 years old who start theirs. Sext is important, turns out. Ah yes. 18, the ripe old age where you can drink legally and you get your period. I'm in the UK and in secondary school. When we were somewhere between 11 and 13, we had fairly comprehensive sex education, which covered periods, body responses, sex, etc. That was decades ago. I am boggled that some countries, I'm guessing US, don't have similar levels of education. Look, never be surprised at what surprises men about the biological functions of the female body. Yay, I was 9, so. Woof. Do yourself a favor and don't let that guy near your vagina. Dude should watch that educational documentary, Carrie. You can turn those erections on and need to jiggle the switch. Has he never heard of teen pregnancy? May I introduce the YouTube channel Sexplanations? I haven't watched in a while, but after high school that's where I learned a lot. You all need to be demanding mandatory comprehensive sex education in schools. This is what happens when people think sex ed is what teaches kids to have sex, and if you just don't teach them, they won't know how to, and no teenagers ever will get pregnant. Steer him to Scarletine. It has a lot of info and this guy sounds incredibly ignorant. Hopefully he can learn from a reasonable source. That's an indictment of the system right there. I mean, how's a kid going to know stuff if nobody talks to them about it? And dear heavens, what are they teaching in sex ed where you're from? Do you happen to be from the theocratic states of America? I'm glad you could educate them a bit. Let's hope they go read up a bit more now that they know they have a gap in their knowledge. Lol, I'd be glad that was how it worked. Tears of joy. I was 10 when I got my period. I'd blow his mind. I was 12 and I still remember the exact date and that it was a Tuesday, and randomly I'll think to myself, I've been doing this bull for X years now. I can't imagine being as young as some of y'all. That must have been rough, sleepy. And women don't even get their periods at 18 until they've registered to vote. I was 14 at the time. I don't know what this dude is thinking. 16 isn't exactly early. Ick people who got there at 8-9 years old. I started in 6th grade. I started at age 11. On my birthday. Are you going to have him read these replies? Maybe consider getting him a copy of Dr. Jen Gunter 2019 book The Vagina Bible, The Vulva and the Vagina, Separating the Myth from the Medicine. It is in libraries and copies are online to buy. And the 1946 10 Minutes Disney Move, The Story of Menstruation, is on YouTube. What? Lol, I was 11 when I got mine and I had a friend who was 9 when she got hers. My sister got hers at 9 years. I got mine when I was 12. There's no set time. He go to some conservative school that's against sex ed? I'm going to save this post and link to it anytime some right-wing group is advocating for our school boards to eliminate sex ed from our provincial curriculum. We're really bad at education here in the USA. Sounds like a dumbass. I think I had my period on my 10th or 11th birthday. I was 11 when I got my period, lol. There's nothing weird about it. I was 11 when I got mine. Boy needs some serious sex ed. Sex ed is failing kids. I went to Catholic school on the 1970s, and we had a basic introduction when we were 9 or 10. And more detailed at 12. Health class failed this guy. I teach elementary kids and they're finding out about periods by GR45. Both boys and girls are getting the same info. Boys learn about girls and girls learn about boys. It's science. It's health. How did he think girls under 18 got pregnant? So no sex ed in your school? And that's why people need sex ed. I started at 13. I was fairly late compared to friends. I was 11-12 and it was in the middle of a school day. I knew what periods were, but of course I didn't carry pads and the teacher didn't want to let me go home and change. So I had to cover it with my cardigan and walk around like that. It was an awful time. I was also the first of my class to get it. Sex ed is woefully inadequate. When I was like 15, I knew a guy who thought all women got their periods at the end of the month. LMAO. Lol, I was 9, good lord, 18? That would have been nice. Thank Christ I went to elementary school in the 70s. We covered this stuff in health like every year from the time that I was like 12. I think my last formal learning on the subject was human sexuality in my second year of college. Of course I'm from a commie state on the left coast. Maybe they didn't teach this in right-to-work hellholes down south. I'm sorry that young all women these days have to put up with this shit. If I had kids, I'd be more generally enraged than is normal for a middle-aged man. Men can turn their boners off. It just takes effort and willpower. Most don't bother to try. Source: my husband can do this. His explanation? Just focus on other stuff. Getting through the day, etc. He gotten super turned on before we're about to go somewhere, but he always manages to tuck it away and be flaccid again in a few minutes. Are not how girls work. It would be nice if we didn't start until 18. Got mine at 12. And 23 years later. It's still a pain, literally some months. We are really failing this generation of children. This is so sad. You guys never had biology classes and you, already 16. Open mouth face damn. You and your friend are appallingly cute. 3-3. Boys don't know what they're talking about. But they'll swear they do. Ignore him and his lies. I started mine at 15. And that's on the later end of average. You're fine. Everyone's body is different. And clueless boys should not dictate how valid your bodily functions are. Your guy friend is an idiot. On another note, consider reading Cycle Savvy by Tony Weschler. And start charting your cycle. I read it in my early 40s. and wish that I had it when I was your age, except it would be another 15 years before she even wrote it. Then another 10 before I heard of it.